Good evening, wrestling fans. Welcome to the Pain Clinic. That's right. This is the Pain Clinic. It's a special Sunday night edition. The Pain Clinic for April 26th. Holidays today. It's Hug and Australian Day, National Pretzel Day, and Richter Scale Day. Birthdays today. Kane is 59 today. Happy birthday, Kane. Amazing Red. You might remember Amazing Red from TNA. Amazing Red is 44. Hey, interested in roller derby? Want to be a skater, officiate? Rock City Roller Derby needs you. Contact recruitment at rockderbyrecruitment@gmail.com and join Rock City Roller Derby. If you're into the men's team, Flower City Fear, FLOUR, flowercityfear.com. Always looking for more skaters and as well as people who want to volunteer their time. We got a lot of stuff talked about today. I'll give you a little hint of what we're going. We're going to do a little recap of WrestleMania 42 and some thoughts about it, as well as some of the fan issues that were going on. We had some call-ups this past week. Brock Lesnar retires, so supposedly, or I don't know, maybe. And we had a whole handful of WWE superstars released on Friday. Very sad, and we're going to go through that list and talk about, we will talk next week with the guys. I'll just give you the release list. But first of all, let's talk about WrestleMania before I get to the release list. WrestleMania last weekend, we had 2 days of it. What did you guys think? If all you can think of coming out of the 2 days of WrestleMania is Danhausen and Paige is back, then I think it was a poor WrestleMania. I'm not saying it was poor. There were some solid matches on it, but for surprises, it wasn't up. It wasn't up to par. It wasn't up to snuff. And so we looked at night one, and we started the first match of WrestleMania 42 on Saturday night with the Usos in a 6-man match with LA Knight against the Vision, and the Usos won, and we saw IShowSpeed, who is the partner of the Vision. That would be Logan Paul and Austin Theory. IShowSpeed showed some stuff. It was pretty cool. He did this high jump onto a prone wrestler. I think it was Logan Paul on the table, and it was looked like they had the drone out too, and it was, I don't know, it was okay. It was a good start. The Usos always get the crowd going. Next up, we had the unsanctioned match between Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre, which Jacob Fatu won. I believe Drew McIntyre is going to make the Highlander movie, and so he might be gone for a while. We had Brie Bella. We had a fatal four-way for the WWE Women's Tag titles, and because Nikki Bella was hurt, Brie Bella called out her old friend, and boom, Paige is back. Paige, who, said all the right things after coming back, like, I've always been WWE, and, exactly what you have to say when you sign a contract with a new company. Good for her. We'll see if she has longevity. Obviously, she is a new tag team champ as well, because Bria Bella and Paige defeated the Irresistible Force, Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, Bayley and Aliyah Valkyria, all by pinfall. So, the next up, we had Becky Lynch defeating AJ Lee. Becky Lee, quite a combination there for the WWE Women's Intercontinental Belt. It looks like AJ Lee is taking some time away. Kudos to her. It was a good match. Becky Lynch, always solid performer on the big stage. Next up, Gunther defeats Seth Rollins by technical submission in a singles match. Some interference helped with that as well. So Gunther over Seth Rollins. Liv Morgan defeated Stephanie Vaquer by pinfall, and Liv Morgan is now the new champ. And then we ended the night with Cody Rhodes defeating Randy Orton by pinfall, which kind of is a surprise. I'm legitimately surprised. I really thought Randy Orton was going to win. Everybody had convinced me Randy Orton was going to win. Cody Rhodes wins, and I guess it was really kind of up in the air until the last minute in that one. But Cody Rhodes comes out as champ on Saturday night. Then we got Sunday. Jump into Sunday, first match, Obafem. And these were the free ones. Remember those first matches, I think first hours were free. Well, relatively. You have to pay for cable to get ESPN. But ESPN2 was free the first two matches on Saturday night and Sunday. We got the first two matches on Sunday night free on regular ESPN. And the first match was Obafemi defeating Brock Lesnar pretty much in a squash. Very Goldberg-esque there for Brock Lesnar, but Brock Lesnar takes off the boots, takes off the gloves, cries a little bit, hugs Paul Heyman, and says he's done. Is he? I don't know, because we always kind of figured that, Gunther has a favor owed by Paul Heyman. I thought it was going to be Brock Lesnar, retire him at SummerSlam. There's a lot of talk about that possibly. Could still happen, but right now I looked like a legitimate retirement at the end of that match. We had a 6-man ladder match right after that with Penta defeating Javon Evans, Dragon Lee, JD McDonough, Rusev, and Rey Mysterio by achieving the champion. So he defended the title, which is pretty good in a 6-way ladder match. Up first on pay-per-view, now that we're not in the free stuff anymore, Trick Williams with Little Yachty defeated Sami Zayn for the WWE United States Championship. Kudos to Trick Williams. He did a great job. I'm Sami Zayn's about to snap, and it's going to happen soon. It's kind of already happening with the crowd. But then we had the Demon Finn Balor defeating Dominic Mysterio in a street fight by pinfall. The introductions were longer than the match. It was only a 10-minute match. Next up, Rhea Ripley defeats Jade Cargill by pinfall, another 10-minute match for the women's championship. And we had the last match of the night, 33-56 length of Roman Reigns defeating CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship. And I'm not sure what's more important. The World Heavyweight Champion, is that a bigger title than the one that Cody's walking around with, the undisputed WWE Championship? They're both, I don't know. I'm not going to argue about it. We could argue all day about it. But that's how WrestleMania ended, with Roman Reigns winning. Couple thoughts about the weekend. Both nights ended early. We were done before 10 on Saturday. Shocking. There were 7 matches, 2 on the free show. We had 6 matches on Sunday, 2 on the free show as well. And like I said, if you're coming out of this show with only with the revolutions of Paige returning and winning a title, and also the Danhausen bit where they had the mini Danhausens, and I didn't even bring that up because it wasn't really, it was a time killer in between matches. But what'd you guys think about the mini Danhausens? And then kind of walking off with the Miz in their hands. I thought it was interesting. Definitely a lot of fun. So, but it was, it was solid, a solid show. Both were solid shows. Were they WrestleMania solid? I don't know. I have some doubts about that because I don't, it just didn't feel that special. And maybe I'm just a hater. I'm not a hater though. But that was WrestleMania last weekend. So we jump into Monday Night Raw, and really everyone, Monday Night Raw, the most unpredictable Monday Night Raw in the history, and nothing special. I didn't think it was anything that great, but the big news after that was on Friday before or during SmackDown or before SmackDown, we had huge news of a huge list of wrestlers who have been released. And I'm going to go through the list with you right now. And you tell me, I don't know. I mean, will they pop up someplace else? This wasn't just a little cut. This was a major cut. Aleister Black, Zelina Vega, husband and wife, both out of a job now. Kairi Sane. I thought they were going someplace with Kairi Sane and Asuka, but apparently not, because Kairi Sane's done. Santos Escobar, who's actually recouping from an injury, which is surprising. Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley, Chris Sabin. Well, they got to come in WWE and spend a good, what was it, year and a half, 2 years there, and got their money. And now, who knows? They can show up anywhere else now, but they're done. They rarely were used anyways. Apollo Crews, kind of not really used very much. Tyreek Igwa, who I can't remember. I think it's an NXT wrestler. Tyson DuPont, Tyra May Steele, Chris Island, Luca Crusino, Trill London, and Cyrena Linton all released. And then later, and that's just the beginning. And then all of a sudden we got some of the big names. Got the entire Wyatt Six. And I've been critical on the show of the Wyatt Six because I just didn't feel that they were booked correctly. I mean, obviously you can't relive what Bray Wyatt did. I mean, that was, it's some deep, deep booking, but they just, were lost in the trios matches and the tag team titles, and never really seemed, um, and it just never really caught. I mean, it was great because they liked, the intros were always great, lights out, lights, everyone's phones go on. So, but we had Bo Dallas, Uncle Howdy's done, Eric Rowan, Dexter Loomis, Nikki Cross, Joe Gacy, all released. Albert Fry was released, still being used, gosh, it's kind of a shame. Andre Chase is gone. Zoe Stark, who is recouping from a knee blown out. Dante Chen, all these wrestlers were released. And that's pretty sad. Will they show up someplace else? There are a healthy amount of names in there that could easily be on TNA, AEW, and some other, maybe New Japan. I know that some people already asked if Aleister Black could come back to AEW, and I think it's not in the cards right now. I'm not sure how their relationship really ended, to be honest with you, but I'm trying to remember. But I know that his wife was in WWE, and he wanted to go back and be with his wife, and he was, and now they're both sitting in the unemployment line, which is a bummer because I really do enjoy Aleister Black, and Zelina Vega's gorgeous. But Zelina Vega also had made some money, doing some streaming sites and things like that, and so maybe she'll get back to that. But I am a big fan of Aleister Black, just never really ever given a chance, I mean, except for that first run in WWE, just never given a super chance. But, I mean, the whole Wyatt Six, we know Rowan's been on AEW before when they were honoring Brody Lee. I'm sure Eric Rowan, will have, could come back possibly. He's a big guy. Why not? I just used incorrectly pretty much with Wyatt Six. The whole Wyatt Six was used incorrectly. Which is kind of a bummer, but that happened. That really happened, which is, and so that was Friday. And then people, are rioting. Kari Sane fans are out there going crazy online. And they are, and who knows, I mean, they may come back. No one ever says they don't, but it's like TKO is looking at the bottom line. And the bottom line is what they did, which was cut, it's interesting because I think someone made a comment saying that basically TKO went to Triple H and Nick Khan and said, okay, you got to get rid of this much money. Who's gone? And then Triple H and Nick Khan got the list to TKO, and then TKO's job was to fire him, which is, it's interesting because that was always like, the Jim Ross job, or the guys who's in charge of everybody, the contracts and everything. And but it was TKO's call this time. So I saw a couple of the wrestlers mentioning that. So it's kind of a bummer. I'm kind of bummed because there's some there's solid talent in there, and hopefully solid talent shows up someplace else. And I know that Rhea Ripley was posting about how sad it was, the big cut day, and everyone is affected by it. And, they're only, and the thing about wrestling is, it seems like if you stick with it, you'll show back up. I mean, everyone's been signed to multiple contracts with different companies. Everyone's been everywhere. So hopefully, they can impress somebody, maybe do some independence. GCW could definitely use a lot of them. We'll see what happens. But that was the biggest news of this past week. I do want to throw out too that I didn't really talk much about stuff that happened after WrestleMania, but I don't know if you saw Cody Rhodes's black eye on Monday as well as Friday. Don't know where that happened, but man, that was nasty. Almost closed up. It was that bad. I don't know when he took the shot. Have to go back and watch his match with Randy Orton again, but that was a nasty one. And then of course CM Punk. I don't know if you've seen the story, but CM Punk slapped a guy's phone out of his hand, and it was someone else was obviously filming that. And so a lot of people were in an uproar. It's like CM Punk, disrespecting a fan, when in reality the fan was taking pictures of his wife hugging Bailey as they were leaving. after WrestleMania, and it was like a private moment, and the guy was taking a picture. So, I mean, I could understand Punk being unhappy about them taking a picture, but also, getting physical with a fan. He's done it before and he's gotten in big trouble. A lot of people joke the guy with the neon green shirt with a smile on it was one that got hit by Punk when he was in the crowd about 15 years ago, and that's why he's got front rows all the time. And if you saw Monday Night Raw, you saw about 8 of those shirts in a row in the front row, so it was almost a blinding neon green view in the background. But yeah, so I didn't want to throw that out. That Punk did have some issues. There was a lot of issues with fans being too much of a fan for the wrestlers, not letting them have any privacy. Their hotels were being swarmed by fans, and the security was terrible. There's a lot of people posting about how terrible the security was during WrestleMania week, and they really, the hotels really were to blame. They weren't really isolating the fans away from the wrestlers. I mean, I gotta understand it's a tough time. It's the wrestlers are there to entertain. They're not there to, I mean, they do have private lives. They need to sleep and do things too. But they were not given. People were just very bad about their personal space, and so there's lots of reports. People would be coming out of their hotel room and down in the lobby and just get swarmed by fans. It happened many, many times during the week. So it's nice they will be not be. It's nice they won't be in Vegas next year, but I mean they're going to be in Saudi Arabia. So I mean that may not even happen either if this war thing doesn't stop. So there is. I also heard rumors, and it was in the news that they might go to one day in Saudi Arabia too. Which I think, if anything, this past year you could have siphoned down all those matches to make it one good day instead of two whatevers. I mean, and it was interesting the amount of tickets sold because it was 50,000 on Saturday and a little and not quite 60 on Sunday. And I had assumed after seeing the ticket sales that they were going to be way over 60 on Sunday, but they weren't. So, it's probably just because they've been there the year before, and it's like you're not going to get the same crowd, and plus the outrageous price of the tickets. But yeah, maybe it's good, we don't do Vegas again for a while, even though it's like Vegas is a great place to go and it's probably a fun place to go see wrestling. But I'd rather take Vegas, I guess, over Saudi Arabia next year. So, and I think that's still a big mistake, but that's a TKO thing, I mean, I worked for iHeart for many years, and when when I originally was working for them, they were another company called Clear Channel, and then iHeart bought them, and then they became penny pinchers, and they were like, cutting staff. And I watched the staff from Rochester at iHeart go from a lot to very few, and it's even fewer now. They barely have enough people to run every station. So I'm not there anymore. So but it's like that's kind of what TKO looks like. They're going to kill any of the profit loss by, like of the big cuts I mentioned earlier. So we will see how that affects the company. I think it's a bad thing for the business. And as much as I've mentioned it before, I don't think Vince McMahon's a bad thing when it comes to running a wrestling company, except for, his personal indiscretions. But he definitely could have booked a better WrestleMania, long-term matches and everything than I think what we got this year. And there's a lot of people criticizing Triple H and Nick Khan over the booking, and we will see where that goes. We will see where that goes after this. I'm sure Triple H, he's the biggest good guy when everything's going great, and he's the guy who's the reason everything goes bad. And it's a tough position to be in, and you know what? It's one he put himself into. So we will see what happens. If there's any fallout from the creativity, or who knows. But I've got some other news, and then I'm going to get out of here. And I want to thank you guys for checking out. And sorry I couldn't be here Saturday. You know what? I was in Philadelphia, and calling roller derby, and it was like I had to get there in the morning. And so Friday night didn't work. We've got too much hockey going on for Rob and DC to make it. So we next week we should be good, I think, as long as now Sabres are up a 3-1. Now that I got back Sunday, I got to see them pick up a nice victory over Boston, and like I said, they're 3-1. It could be over as soon as the next game, which is super exciting. I think it's back in Buffalo too. So there we got a little hockey update, and yeah, so I'm back, and we will. There's going to be another time in June, the first week of June, that we'll probably not do a show because I'm going to be up in Waterloo, Ontario. I'm calling roller derby, but let me get to some news, and next week we'll talk a little bit about I'll get some feedback from the guys and you guys as well about what you thought about Mania and all the cuts, because everyone has an opinion. I'm curious, if you got a chance to think before next weekend, who you think can come out of this list and make a difference someplace else. Okay, because we all have our own opinions, and I definitely like to throw some around, but. If you watched Raw this past week, we had a few of the NXT guys got called up, starting with Ethan Page. He arrived on Raw. He was there in Vegas on for the post WrestleMania 42 WWE Raw on April 20th, 420, of course. And he was in the backstage segment with Javon Evans, Penta, Adam Pearce, and then Ethan Page. And Ethan Page, I mean, we've known Ethan Page since TNA, since AEW, and it's good to see, Ethan Page is being brought up to Raw. But he's not the only one. He's definitely not the only one, because people have been called up recently. Of course, you see Javon Evans, Trick Williams, Obafemi, Ethan Page, and Joe Henry also was called up too. So, and now Ricky Saints is going to be on SmackDown next week. So Ricky Saints getting called up as well. So that's another reason why all these cuts happened, is it allowed these guys to debut. And it's like, it's a good thing and a bad thing. And it's a bummer that those guys have to get cut. And it's a good thing these guys get an opportunity now. So, so you saw the list of people that are, now have debuted. We'll probably get more too, I'm guessing. But we also Evil from New Japan, a wrestler named Evil. He has signed with WWE, so we're going to see what they'll probably give him a new name when he comes in, I'm guessing. But he's definitely The name it's all capital letters, by the way, EVIL. So if you ever watch any of the New Japan shows, you've definitely seen him on there before. Some other news: AEW Collision's headed to a different network for one night. That's right, May 9th. You can catch AEW Collision on TBS, the Superstation. They will be on 8 o'clock that night. I think it's hockey that's causing that to happen. So it's not a bad thing. I mean, I like AEW on either TNT or TBS. So that definitely is a good thing. There was potentially one fallout from WrestleMania Night 1 is when Cody Rhodes beat when Randy Orton, that Pat McAfee can no longer be involved in WWE, which some people think is good. He was funny. I liked the bits he did during the match. Obviously, having Jelly Roll jump on him on the table. Oh, good Lord. Jelly Roll got hurt too, I believe. But Randy Orton, Pat McAfee ended up getting stretchered to the back and then coming out with a neck brace on. Apparently the next day on his radio show, he had the neck brace on as well. But what they originally wanted to do is they wanted to have a high profile tag match on Backlash, the next pay-per-view, which is only a couple weeks away. And it was going to be Pat McAfee and Randy Orton against Jelly Roll and Cody Rhodes. And unfortunately, fortunately or unfortunately, depends how you look at it, Pat McAfee nixed that. He's like, nah, I don't want to do that. We're done. I'm done here. And so the angle appears to have exited. We get to see Pat McAfee exit the company by his choice. So, I mean, I'm a Pat McAfee fan. I know he's like doing a movie or something, and they're like keeping him busy doing stuff. I am a fan of his. I'm jealous as well of him because I love what he's doing, and it looks like so much fun. And I like his show. I wouldn't mind being a cast member on the Pat McAfee show. So if you know Pat by any chance, tell him, if he's looking for somebody. I could be one of those guys in the control room punching buttons, or I could be the guy with a mullet. I'll grow a mullet. No. So moving on, it looks like WWE SmackDown's going to be going back to 2 hours, which is a great thing because for me, I can't make it past the 10 o'clock hour most of the time. And I joke, if it's important, I will. But in reality, I end up watching the last hour while I'm doing prep for the show on Saturday morning. but it looks like, and they say in the coming weeks it's going to be moving back to 2 hours. No official date yet, but that will be sometime soon. And when that happens, I will be very, very happy about that. Um, this past week, you might have seen. Uh, let's see where was that? Oh yeah, this we got a title change on SmackDown this past week. And that was Lyra Valkyria losing her title to Tiffany Stratton. So we did a title change on Friday. I thought that was pretty cool. If you missed it, Tiffany Stratton wasn't on WrestleMania, which is I think maybe she was coming back from an injury and they just didn't have time to build something up. But it's a shame because I do like Tiffany Stratton a lot, and but she did get a title on the first SmackDown after WrestleMania, which I guess it's a good consolation prize. You get to walk off with a new title as the post WrestleMania tour begins. They're about to do a European tour. That's going to be happening. It's probably another reason why these guys were all cut, because they wouldn't have to pay for them and everything, or on the European tour, and so which is, I don't know, menial. I think that it's a shame. It is definitely a shame that we lost that many in one fell swoop. Usually it's like 7 here, 7 there, but 23, 24 in one night. And I guess there was a big meeting that happened before that, and but most people found out through TKO. So I'm gonna keep moving. I know this is gonna keep this short and sweet. If you're gonna watch Raw this week, this just today they officially announced new matches for Raw. You're going to get Penta versus Rusev in single actions on Raw, as well as you're going to have a bout pitting Bayley and Lyra Valkyria against Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez. Bayley did kind of help cheat for them to win last week, 2 weeks ago, so I think maybe Bayley's headed down the dark path, but we will see. Not only that, but we're going to have a major development in the Roman Reigns Jacob Fatu challenge. Jacob Fatu challenged Roman Reigns this past Monday, which was pretty cool. Seth Rollins is slated to kick off the broadcast, so we'll have Seth Rollins back. And it looks like Joe Henry's going to be doing a concert on Monday night. You never get enough Joe Henry, and now that he's on Monday Night Raw, he's going to get some prime time. Oh, by the way, when I mentioned Tiffany Stratton winning that title, it was the brand new Women's United States Championship title. So that now Tiffany is the champ of that. And that's all the news I've got for this week. I'm sorry that it's short and we didn't get into too much deep thought on it, but we will be back next week. And I appreciate you guys checking us out. And we'll be back next Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Same bat time, same bat channel.